Hey, how's it going? Welcome. Good day. On with another video. And so, I think we'll just start. We're going to start with what we've been dealing with for a little while here, with which are these shapes right here, our friend the squares, and some rectangles and triangles and pentagons and circles and parallelograms. And all of those name, have a name for what all those shapes are called. Okay, and well, it's written underneath this plane here. Okay, they're called plane shapes. And not because they're shapes that make up a plane, but because they're actually contained on the plane, which is a flat surface. So basically these are two-dimensional shapes. They've got length and width, but they don't have any depth to them, any kind of height. Okay, so we want to move away from plane shapes. We want to move on to space shapes. Okay, see what I did there? So space shapes are shapes that are three-dimensional, so they live in our world. So if you're in a rocket ship flying over the Earth, you'd see houses and tents, and I don't know what else you'd see, cheerleader things, and funnels, and cans of beans, and soccer balls, and ballpoint pens, and apparently this house has a pyramid attached to it. I'm not sure why, but whatever. So you'd see all these three-dimensional objects, which are called space shapes, because they live in our world in the third dimension. They have length, they have width, they have height, and they've got volume instead of just area. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how we categorize these space shapes and what they mean, what they're called, and how we go about keeping track of them. All right, so the first category that we have, let's go blue, since everything's in blue, is called a prism. Okay, and a prism, basically what makes a prism is it has parallel bases. Okay, parallel bases, okay, which generally we think about the top and the bottom. In this case, we're talking about the front and the back. So this is a base right here. That's triangular shape is a base, and this back triangle that you can't see is also a base. Okay, and those bases are parallel to each other, meaning they won't intersect at any point, and they're the same shape. They're both triangles, and then the sides are rectangular or some sort of quadrilateral shape, typically a rectangle or a square, depending on what it is. Okay, so they have parallel bases, and the way we name them according to the shape of their base. So this one, okay, the ever popular prism that makes rainbows, is called a triangular. I almost spelled it wrong. A triangular prism. Okay. This one with five-sided bases is called a pentagonal prism. And you could just call it a pentagon prism. So you're just basically looking at the shape of the base and then whether it's a prism or not. Okay? So prisms have parallel bases, and we describe them based on the number of sides that they have. All right? Cool. A sort of like a prism is this thing here. It's got the same properties of a prism. It's got a specialized name. We call it a cylinder. Okay, you can see where it's got the bases. In this case, the circles. There's a base there, and there's a base up here, and they're both circles, and they're parallel to each other. Okay, so it's a cylinder, but it's just a specialized case of the prism. Okay, bases are circles, top and bottom, but it's going to behave the same sort of way as a prism in terms of finding out its volume and whatnot as we move forward. All right, so cylinders. And then we have these. These are called pyramids. And I'm hoping no one's really surprised by this being called a pyramid, but what makes a pyramid is that they just have one base. Okay, and the faces, which are the sides, they all meet at one point. Okay, so they have one base, and your faces all meet at a point. Okay, these back to prisms. These things here we refer to as the faces. Okay, bases and faces. All right, so pyramids. And the way we name pyramids, same way that we named prisms, we look at the base. So in this case, the base is a triangle. So this is a triangular pyramid. This one's got a square base. You can't really see it, but it's got four sides. So this one is called a square pyramid. Okay, and we can have hexagonal pyramids. We can have all different shapes of pyramids, hexagons, pentagons, as long as it's got one base and the faces all meet up at a point up here. Okay, and we've got ourselves a pyramid. Good? Good. Specialized pyramid, also known as the cone. Okay, cones are fun. They've got the circular base. Okay, sometimes we see cones this way. Okay, and then maybe we fill them up with something. Fill them up with some rainbow ice cream. There we go. There, okay, no. Move on. Okay, so those are cones. Cones just a specialized version of a pyramid. Good so far? And then we have these little guys here, and these guys are called spheres. Okay, sphere. Yeah, gotta have that kind of that F sound in there. Okay, this makes the F sound, so sphere, sphere. Spheres, balls, circles, a globe, something like that. It's a three-dimensional object. Basically, the way a sphere comes is you take a circle and you spin it around on its axis and make it three-dimensional, and that's what gives you a sphere. That's what this is, a bunch of circles all spun around. You've seen them, oranges, grapefruits, all those kinds of things are sort of spherical objects, basketballs, baseballs, that sort of thing. All right, so that's what a sphere is. And that's called a hemisphere, half a sphere. And why, you might ask, do we spend so much time worrying about how to name these things? Well, we want to be able to communicate with other people about them, have intelligent conversations. So hemisphere, and we live in a hemisphere. We want to have intelligent conversations about them. Okay, one of the benchmark actually for this unit, while we're talking about it, you're just going to need to name various space shapes. I'll have a box with, I don't know, probably 10 space shapes in them. Numbered, you pick up number 1, you write down what it is. You pick up number 2, you write down what it is. And ta-da, there you go. So being able to name them according to their bases. So we're back to the space shape. So there's our little spaceship flying over our hemisphere, the northern hemisphere. That's where we live. Okay. And if it was traveling over, it might look down, and I guess if it got close enough, it might be able to see some space shapes as we go. Okay. So, oops, sorry. And this is a little chart that you should be filling out. Okay, a sketch, possibly, some words or a sketch would work. How do we name them? That's where you probably would fill in, like according to its base, triangular prism. Well, we call it a cylinder, so that's not really much information. But just a general summary so that you're ready to take that benchmark. And I believe, I'm sure, I'm certain of it, that there is nothing after. I'm going to just check to make sure. Oh, there is something after. Oh, good thing I checked. It's back to the original picture, and it's the picture of the picture of all these space shapes, and now we know this is a prism sitting on top of another prism and some pyramids, sitting on top of a prism, sphere, we got some cylinders, we got a cylinder sitting on top of a prism, and these are sort of coney-like situations right there. Okay, so that's the story there. Let me just see if I've forgotten anything. Oops, no, I guess not. All right, and so now I'm done. So we're all good. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope you remember something, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. That's all. Waiting for the 30-minute second mark because I don't know why. See ya. Bye.